Hi Cancer, welcome to your week ahead Taroscope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, my readings are for your sun, moon and ascendant sign. So whether you're a sun, moon or rising sign Cancer, this is for you. And I always advise that you watch all three to get a clearer, more complete picture of how they're going to speak to you. With that said, remember they are general reads. Not everything's going to resonate with everybody, and that is just fine. You should always use your own discernment. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So for your key to the week this week, you have the Star card. I love this card, right? Because it is joy, it's happiness, but it's also trust in the self. Now, if I'm completely honest with you, there is something about this card that people don't really talk about enough, right? And that is the figure on the card is naked. Now, you know, I'm not talking about the fact that we should all be naked. Right, what I'm talking about here is vulnerability. All right, in order to trust ourselves, our gifts, our abilities, in order to trust the universe, it takes a certain amount of vulnerability, right? And Cancer is known for having a hard, you know, exoskeleton, that hard sort of exterior. They put up that really great front, but in, you know, on the inside, they've got that soft, squidgy middle. I know this because my moon is in Cancer, or the moon in my chart rather is in Cancer. And that it affords me many wonderful attributes, but it also provides me with a vulnerability, right? And what I will say to you is this: if this week there may be something that you are needing to approach, right? Whether this is, and it kind of feels like you're going to need help. You'll need help, you'll need support, maybe you need somebody to back you up. Very often with Cancerian people, like if we say we need you, it's more likely we just need a hug or someone just to be there, not to do anything. We don't need grand gestures or whatever. It's usually just, you know what, stand with me in solidarity. Let me feel what I feel or how I feel it, and let me process it that way. Having someone there just tends to make us feel like, okay, I can deal. All right. We don't actually need people, you know, I talk we, like I'm not talking for all Cancerians, I'm talking for myself here, but that's how I understand Cancerian energy. Now, that being said, you've got the Star card. There is going to be something this week that maybe has you feeling a little bit more exposed, that maybe has you feeling a bit more vulnerable, that maybe makes you realize, wow, you know what? I'm actually human, you know. I'm an Aquarius sun, so technically I'm still an alien, okay? And that's what I'll say to you, like this week, don't be afraid to reach out, don't be afraid to ask for help. Cancerian energy is very good at reading other people's emotions, very good at intuitively picking things up, and sometimes has a tendency to expect others to be able to do the same. Not everybody can, not everybody will. So this week, where you feel vulnerable, when you feel vulnerable, when you know you need help, don't be afraid to ask for it. So for your, if you are a continued subby, you know Rafi loves you. And if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and this resonates, hit the subscribe button. For your actions and options, you've got the Three of Pentacles. This week, there is some profound learning that is taking place for you on a very deep, possibly very spiritual level, right? And this isn't about going within, it's actually about learning about yourself through the connections, right? So there might be a friendship tie. For those of you that are studying anything at the moment, you could really connect with somebody that you're studying with. You could really find a moment of like, wow, you know what? Like this person feels like they resonate with me. And for others of you, this may very well be a week where a mirror shows up for you in the world and has you go, ooh, okay, I want to change that. All right, we all have these moments. It's human, and it's important to be able to acknowledge them, right? And I say this for myself as well. Like there's been things over the course of a lifetime, and maybe even some recently, if I'm totally honest, you know, where I look at myself and I'm like, ooh, Yeah, no, we need to work with all of that, right? And that's me being human. If I were this completely enlightened being, I wouldn't have a body. I'd be up there floating around helping you guys in another way. All that aside though, this is a week of profound learning about yourself through the mirror of the world. Now, the reason this is important, straight out of the gate on the 17th, we've got a powerful full moon in the sign of Cancer. So this is highlighting you, spotlighting you, showing you, revealing you to the world in some way, shape or form. And then finally, on a more mundane level, for those of you that are thinking about taking some form of study, for those of you that are thinking about taking a correspondence course, doing some sort of online learning, this week is a great week for you to look into this. Even with the Mercury retrograde, even with the Venus retrograde, like the energy is there. This is a week for learning. If you're not open to it, it may happen for you regardless. For your communications and conversations, you have the Queen of Cups. So you show up, whether you're a man or a woman is irrelevant, or however you identify is irrelevant. The Queen of Cups is ruled by Cancer, right? And so this suggests that in your communications, at least, you really show up. Now, what I love about this is you show up for your friends, you show up for your groups, right? Like you are likely to be there at the forefront on somebody else's behalf. What you're not expecting this week is for so many people to come through for you, and you might feel, Cancerians might feel tearful, shocker. Right? You might feel like, this overwhelming sense of, wow, you know what, I have so much more support than I realized I actually have. This is beautiful. Now, this is a week for you to nurture and nourish your connections. If you're employed by somebody else, this week you could bury a hatchet. You might be able to hash something out with a boss or somebody that is, maybe in a position of authority. You might be able to find some sort of, not camaraderie, what's the word? Some civility, right? If there's been challenges with a boss or somebody that's in a position of power, or maybe you're in the position of power and you're having a little bit of a, with some of the people that you work with, this week could go a long way to mending something like that. If you are self-employed, if you're a business owner, etc., this is really asking you to nourish the connections that you have. Start thinking about your network this week. You need to start on a more practical level. This is a week for you to network, right? This is a week for you to reach out, connect with people that you know, connect with people that you like. This is a week for that, really. When it comes to those of you that are retired or no longer working, this, in a lot of ways, is about finding new groups that can nourish and nurture your soul, right? This would be a really good week for you to start thinking. They say you are what you hang with, right? And if you're only hanging with the TV all day, every day, you're not really stimulating your mind, body and soul. So this week, look into ways that you can do that. For your love and relations, you have the Queen of Wands. So you've got two queens here. Two queens represent sincere friends, right? And this whole spread speaks to friends, learning, connections, networking. This is a really, really great week for you to find those connections, and more importantly, to realize how much support, how much care there actually is in the world for you and that surrounds you. Now, you've got the Queen of Wands underneath the Three of Pentacles. While you are doing this deep learning about self, seeing yourself in new ways, maybe seeing yourself in the same light that certain people see you, you are, because it is the Queen of Wands after all, you are having to set a very firm boundary. When it comes to those of you that are single and looking, this might be a week where you're like, you know what? No. These, or this group of potentials, or these potential suitors, you realize that actually they're just friends. They don't have what it is that you need in order to make, the true connection. And there's nothing wrong with that, because by clearly defining that it's not this kind of person, or it's not this person in my life, the universe says, okay, no problem. In that case, we know what to bring you, right? The other thing is as well, if you're in a partnership, a relationship or a marriage, this is you and your partner really having to, in a lot of ways, it's about getting back to the friendship, right? to really get into that space of, you know what, before we were anything else, we were friends, we were people that dated, we were people that laughed. And I say this to all of my siblings that have children, to my friends that have children. I said this years ago. Before you were parents, you were boyfriend and girlfriend, husband and wife, boyfriend and boyfriend, girlfriend and girlfriend. Yes, I have friends that are in same-sex marriages, etc., that have children, and I think it's a beautiful thing. For your money and materials, you have the 9 of Pentacles. So this is great, right? The one thing that I would try to avoid, my dear Cancerians, don't just throw yourself into work to avoid how you feel this week, all right? Like, this is not a week where you can, me and a friend of mine affectionately laugh about the Cancer cave. Like, when we're ready, it's just like, we just disappear into the, and it's like, I'll just deal with it on my own, and when I'm ready, I'll emerge. You can't do that this week, right? The tendency with the 9 of Pentacles, aside from everything else, you might try to disappear into your work. And to be honest with you, those who really love and care for you and really get you, they're not going to allow you this week. So it's going to be a bit exhausting, because it means you're going to have to face your feelings as and when you have them, not sort of scurry away and deal and then sort of emerge from underneath your rock. All right. Money looks good this week though. That 9 of Pentacles, especially under the Queen of Cups. This is you figuring out how to maximize your business, how to get the most out of your work, how to squeeze every ounce of value out of yourself and into your bank balance, which is great. On a more practical level, does look like there could be overtime this week, but like I said, just be mindful. When it comes to your physical health and vitality, this is going to be your digestive system, especially this card. This is definitely the digestive system, and I really want you to look after that, because you know when the anxiety kicks in. And then finally, for your home and environment, this would actually be a good week to do whatever you can to improve maybe the technology that you have in the house. I know Mercury retrograde, not really a great time for new tech, but if you want to get like something that's refurbished, perfect time to do so. Now for your full moon message, you have the gate 13 and listen. And this really is all about listening to your intuition and listening to the changes that are taking place on the internal, right? This is about really discovering what stage of the chrysalis you are in, where, you know, how close are you ready to burst out of that and become the butterfly. There is a deep change or a deep shift taking place for you this week, and it's really just about acknowledging it and letting it unfold. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.